Hello everyone, my name is Anderson and I'm going to be demonstrating to you how I created this wicker chair inside Blender. Although it looks like a complex object, its underlying geometry is quite simple and most of the details that you see here on the side, on the back, on the seating area, is all done through the use of a texture map. Later on in the process, when we start dealing with materials and UVs, I will also show you how I created this texture map inside Blender. I did use a little bit of external image editing software, but it was only to make sure that the image was tileable and there will be no visible seams once you start using it. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna leave this image here on the side so we can use it as a reference and I can point out stuff that I'm gonna be working on and you have an idea what this looks like in the end. So let's just delete the camera and the default lamp. Also, I want to make sure that I'm working on some type of unit. I'm going to be working on a metric system, the one that I'm most comfortable with. And let's get into the cube. I'd like to see my edge length. I don't know the exact measurements of this chair, but I know that most chairs, this sitting area is around 40 to 50 centimeters above the ground. So that's what we're going to be aiming at with this cube. Let's scale this down to around 40. And move it up a little bit so we leave some room here on the bottom for the feet. And let me hide this, I don't need it anymore. To make my life easier, I'll add an edge loop here in the y-axis and right in the center, and I'll delete the left faces here. So if I add a modifier now, a mirror, I'll just have to do with one of the sides, and I'll also like to use this clipping so my object won't get ripped apart if I start moving things around. So let's get to model this now. Just a basic shape. So select this edge and the bottom one there and the back. Extrude on the z-axis, so this is going to be the armrest here. And I'll also select the last one there and extrude again on the z-axis for the back area. Now here in the back there is a slight curvature, so here on the left side here just add two edge loops here in the bottom, and let me start moving some vertices around. And also here in the back should be a slight angle here to make this chair more comfortable. Also select this vertex and move it here a little bit. The center part here should be higher. Okay, let's move this back a little bit on the y-axis to make a slight curvature. The chair is more comfortable. I think my chair looks a little bit too tall, but since this is on the right height, let me select the whole mesh here and make it wider. Okay, this make a little bit higher, this one as well, a bit wider, higher again. Let's look here on the side. Okay, that looks like it. Let me select all these vertices here in the back and move them out a little bit. Oops. And select these guys. Okay, small curvature there. And that looks about right, just a little bit higher here. Let's go to a subdivision modifier. And right now it looks really ugly. Looks almost like a toilet seat. Let's analyze here the structure of this chair. You can see here that there's one whole screen that just folds around here in the back and then all the way here to the other side of the armrest. But then there is a seam down here. So this top part is just one piece here that you see. And then there are two more structures, different screens here down here. There's one for the sitting area that folds forward here and goes straight down. And then there seems to be a third one that starts on this side and folds to the back and supposedly just folds then to the other side and ends here in the front. So what we have to do is this. Let's select this top faces here that's on the armrest or on the back here, and I'll press Y. That's gonna rip my mesh apart. So this face is now a completely different element on my object. And the other one, that's this seating area, and that folds forward here. So just select these guys here and press Y, rip them apart as well. So now they're just another element on my object. And the third one, that's this on the side that goes on the back and turns into the other side. I don't have to separate it anymore because that's all that's remaining. This bottom part here, there's no screen underneath this, so let's just delete this face. Starting to look like, doesn't it? Let me separate this into a new object. I'll press P, selection, so now you see there's another object there. And let's see here, smooth shading on these guys, and maybe add another subdivision level here to make things clearer. Okay, now let's adjust some curvatures here. You can see that this is really round up here, but then it folds here, it goes down almost in like a 90-degree angle down here. So we need to add more detail to our base mesh on this guy. I'll just add another edge loop here and bring it to the front like this. I'm looking at this curvature here, and the bottom part should be sharper, the curvature, so I'll just select the vertex and this vertex, and Shift V, I can slide it on the edge, so I could just make a sharper corner around here. Maybe this one a little bit to the back here, so it's rounder. Same thing goes here to the bottom. You see that this curvature here is much smaller than what we have here. So just select this bottom guy here, and I'll add an edge loop here on this side. I don't want to go all the way to the front because I want to have a little bit of curvature. Okay, this one looks like this guy here. And also this front part needs, because you can see right now the curvature goes all the way to the back. We don't have an edge loop here. So let's add another one here and kind of align it to the previous one that we made. Doesn't have to be exact though. Most of these seams will be hidden by this rail or tube that goes around the armchair, the armrest here in the back. So don't worry about this edge here. So that's it. Now that we have the overall shape defined of this chair, let's start working on some of the details in this. I'm going to add now the back legs here. So I'll just add here, let me just move all these to another layer. I like working here on the front layer. I'm going to add a circle and press T here. Just use 6 vertices in it, and I'm going to scale it down. Okay. Draw these guys again. What I'm going to do is go into the editing mode and moving this to the back here. So I will extrude this guy up. I'll also add a mirror modifier to it, just like we did on the basic shape. Okay. So here on the side view, I'll just push this back here and scale it down. Okay, that looks good. Do an extrusion and extrude around. Okay, let's do an extrusion around here and then extrude it again here. And one more all the way up here. If we need more detail here, just add an edge loop. Let me add here a subdivision modifier. More. Okay, that's starting to look good. Maybe make this go closer. I don't know how far up this goes. It ends somewhere around here. So like this, and it should go inside here. It goes underneath this net. Down here. And then all of a sudden it goes out again here. So this should be something like that. I will also make this curve inwards as well. Something like this. Kind of looks like it. Or like maybe you see how when it goes out here is almost like on the right angles here. So That's what I'm trying to get here, following this line. This part here doesn't really matter, it's supposed to be inside anyways. So, okay, let's just make this smooth. And finishing touches down here. I'll just move this up a little bit, extrude it once more, scale it down. Okay, this looks good. Maybe just add another edge loop here. That looks good. How about 3 subdivision levels on this guy? Okay. So what we need to do now is define a little bit more the curvature here on this bottom part. The top part, you can see that's really curvy here. It doesn't care about this structural leg that's behind here, but this part here on the front, on the bottom part, it has just a small curvature and it's almost a straight line this side here. So let's edit this guy and we'll add an edge loop here, push it outwards. Let's see if you can get away with just this one here. Select these vertices as well. Let's move this out. Tighter here. We need to push it that way as well. Okay, out. Okay, now these two guys, out of it. Remember that this is curved in both ways, on the X and Y axis. This looks like it. Okay, so let me just hide this guy for a moment. And let's separate this top part here. Pressing P, creating another object for it. So I can also hide it. And the last detail that we have to do here is just make this fold inwards a little bit, otherwise you're going to have a gap here on your rendering. So the top row here of vertices, make an extrusion, drop in the same place and scale them inwards a little bit. Okay, so if you think you need to, you can just add another edge loop here to make this corner sharper. Okay. Let's unhide the other objects. Let's hide this one again. Now I want to adjust the details here on the seating area. You just have to match this same curvature here as well. So I'm going to select this vertex, push it inwards. I'll definitely need an edge loop here. Okay. And just grab this row here and move it in a little bit. This guy could be okay, not too much. We don't want to leave a gap there. This should be enough. This part here, don't worry about it. It's going to be hidden here. Okay? You're going to have this tube following there. So let's unhide everything. Okay, this is almost done now. So let's close these menus that I don't need. And let's focus on this tube. That's what we're going to be working on right now. Let's analyze what this structure looks like. If you see these strands, you just have a repetition of these strands all the way around the diameter of this tube, this cylinder. And if you analyze it on the z-axis here, it's just a repetition of the same guys all the way around the chair until you end on the other side with the same repetition of strands that you have there. So what we're going to be focused on is on making just a section of this. I'll call this a ring. Let's make this ring of strands here, okay? So let's just select everything here and move to the other layer. I want to start a new cube here. Scale this down a little bit. And how much do we have to scale this down? If this is about 40 centimeters high, I would guess that this diameter here is around 6 or 7 or something like that. You can always adjust this later, but let's have a rough idea of what's the size, okay? So I'm going to press N here. I have the whole cube selected. I'm in editing mode, okay? I have all the vertices selected, and the median point is the center point of my selection here. I just want to move it up in the z-axis. I said 8 centimeters wide, so I want to move it up 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters. Okay, so I just have to scale this down now. Let's pretend it's the thickness of one of these strands here that I'm looking for. So I can just imagine 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8, on the other side 8, 16 copies of this strand around here. That's why I moved it up from its center, okay? So this is the object, the center is down here. I just moved the geometry up 4 centimeters. Let's just add a modifier, array. Let's make, as I said, 16 copies. But there's nothing changing here. So if you look what's going on, it's copy on the x-axis 16 times on a straight line. That's not what we want. We want around that center there. So for that, all we have to do is this. At the center of the object, let's create an empty plane axis. Let me just scale this guy down. 6 centimeters. And I'll use this object as the center of duplication for this array, okay? So let's select the strands here, and instead of a relative offset that we have right now here on the x-axis, let's go an object, select the object offset, and select our empty. So now, whatever you do to your empty, it's going to use this as the guide for the array. So you always see that the second repetition here on the first repetition, it's always on the node transformation here, the empty transformation. So if I was scaling, you see that each of them is going to be scaled accordingly to the amount of scale that I'm using here on the node. Or in our case, if we start rotating it, you always see that the first repetition that you have there is always at this center axis of this empty. So I have to find out what's a good rotation, so we have the 16 around here. So something like this should be good. Okay, I have the 16 strands around here. But my strands right now looks like cube. And since this is a really small object that I'm working on right now, just this ring here, I have to increase a little bit the drawing distance here. Actually decrease the near clipping. Right now it's 10 centimeters. That means that whatever is 10 centimeters from my viewport or a smaller distance won't be drawn, the triangles. You see how it's clipping them? So all I have to do here is maybe just reduce this to 1 centimeter. So it will only remove the triangles that are closer to 1 centimeter from my virtual camera, my viewport, okay? So that's it. So how to make this look like this strand right now? Let's select our object, go to edit mode. Let's go on a side view here, scale it on the Y direction. Okay, select these vertices, extrude, move them down a little bit. Extrude these guys on the back here and move them down a little bit. I don't know how much yet, but we can adjust that later. See how it's starting to look like our strands here? Just have to add the subdivision surface modifier and we're really going to look like those strands there. Since there are a lot of these around, maybe it's a good idea to try to optimize this object and remove the faces that we won't be seeing. So I selected the bottom ones here and the front and the back one. Just delete it. So you see, I only have the outer part now and reduced almost for half the amount of faces that I have on this object. So I would say that our first ring here looks done. Okay, if it's not really the exact look, we can adjust that later. Just let me smooth this out. Okay, so what we have to do now is take this object now and start repeating it along this axis. Okay, so the green axis is the Y direction, so that's the way that we have to go. Array again, and let me just reduce these guys here. First, let me put the array above my subdivision. I always like to leave my subdivision at the end of the row, okay? So we have a lighter mesh to work with. So in this array, I don't know how many I have here. I don't want to count this. We'll adjust this later. So just use 10 here, but we are working on the wrong axis. Instead of having an offset of one object to the left, to the right on the x-axis, just put this one here and let's make one on the y-axis. So now it's starting to look like this section here, but there's one thing that's missing. You see how these strands here are all interweaved. They go up and down inside from one to the other. And this is not really what's going on around here. I could use another empty and use a rotation in it and try to fit in each one of these, but there's an easier way to do this. I'll just go to the edit mode again of my base object, and instead of trying to find out what's going on here to make them go in this weave pattern, I would just select the front part here, and I'll model that rotation that I need. I'll just move this enough to go in between the two next ones here. But they are also supposed to be overlapping here on this direction. The way it is right now, if I try to move this on Y, you see that the other copy will always run away from me. Okay, that's because we are using a relative offset here. And this number 1 here means that one whole object to the next. So if I'm moving this face here, I'm actually making my object bigger. So it's always, the next one will always be one object in front of me. So what I have to do here, I can use a smaller number than 1. Let's say 0.5. That means that half an object ahead, place another copy. Half an object ahead, place another copy. So now it's starting to look really cool. Let's move this a little bit further here. Maybe rotate it. Yeah, could we use a rotation? Select all these guys. Do a rotation here as well. Move this. Oops. Keep zooming in on that. See what this looks like. Let's put back the subdivision modifier. Look how cool this looks. Let's make this more intertwined. I'll rotate this way. Yeah, this way. So it goes underneath my other objects. Let me go to vertex level, and I want to make these guys rotate like this. The same here in the back. So it's easier to fit a front part here with the back of the next one there. So select these vertices and move maybe like this. This looks good. Well, you have the freedom to try different styles, but this kind of looks like this one that we have here. Okay, so let's take a look now at the whole chair here. Starting to look like it. Maybe it's a little bit thick, but we'll adjust that later. Our next step now is how to deform this cylinder that's only going straight down on the y-axis to follow the shape that we want around the chair. For that, we're going to make a B-spline, a Bezier spline, and we're going to make the spline go all the way around our chair, and we'll use that as a deformation object for our cylinder that we have right here, right now. So let me just move this, the cylinder and the empty, to another layer. So we only have the chair here visible. And let's create a Bezier curve. Go into the editing mode. Gonna align this control point here. Scale these guys down. Hold on. This one here in the front view. I'll move this guy up here. Just rotate it. Rotate this one as well. Let's check on the side view. Rotate it like this. Okay. Move it out a little bit. Okay, and through just like creating an extrusion, you just press the E on the keyboard, and then that creates an extension to my Bezier curve. This looks really nice. Just have to follow a little bit the mesh that I have underneath it. Scale things down or up according to your geometry. Might be a little bit different than mine. Let's check here on the front view. I need to move this way. So rotate it like this. And okay, if it's not completely aligned here, it doesn't matter because it's quite thick here, so you won't notice that it's not in the center. But if you want to adjust that, go on and keep rotating. I did the left side here, and before I make the other side, I would just duplicate this, guys. Shift D, And I'll change my pivot point. Instead of the median point, I'll use the 3D cursor that's right at the origin. So I scale this on the x-axis -1. So I just created a mirror and just create a middle point here so I can have more control of this. Let me adjust the pivot point back to the median point like that. And just like if you're modeling a face edge or something like that, just press F and you will create that missing segment there. Just have to move this back here and rotate it. That looks good. Okay, looks fine. If it's not completely symmetrical, remember, this is a handmade chair. There's no chair in the world handmade that's perfectly symmetrical or anything like that. And so, little discrepancies like this that makes the object believable, more photorealistic, okay? So, okay, our spline is done. Let me move out of it. Now, we just have to select again our cylinder and add another modifier called, it's on the deform this time, called curve. Let me just move this above my subdivision surface so it's lighter to work with. And what it does is I just have to select an object, the curve that I created, and now it's supposedly, it is deforming this object. It is deforming, but it's on the wrong axis. Remember that our object was growing this way in the y direction, so I just have to change the axis. So now you have an idea what we are getting into. You can see this. It's way thicker. We'll adjust that in a moment. Just let's see how many copies that we have to put here on the second array. Remember that we just added the whatever numbers we had in mind. So if you just press the Alt on your keyboard and scroll your mouse wheel up, you'll increase the values. In my case, something around 60 or maybe, 59 or 60. It's fine. Good. Maybe yours is a little bit different. It all depends on the size of your object. But you just have to scroll up or down here and find a perfect number that matches your chair. What I can notice here is that this is way thicker than this. So I just have to press Tab here to go into edit mode. And what I actually have to do is on the front view here is make this go closer to the origin. That way the diameter of the circle will be smaller. But let's see how this looks like deformed. Okay, we open up a new viewport here for us. This one, I'm going to add the smooth shading so we can refer to this guy and this guy to find our optimum diameter for this. So like I just have to move this down to something like this. Let's see it subdivided. That looks really good, doesn't it? One thing that I notice here is that we have a tapering effect going down here. I'll show you how we can do this. Okay, we don't need this extra view anymore. If you go back to our Bezier curve, edit mode, and if I select, let's select both these end control points here. And open up the menu here on the side, and you see there's a mean radius here. It is set to 1. So if you start decreasing this, you can see that the radius is actually deforming the radius of the object that's following around it. Okay, so you can just move this down or up. But you notice that, let me exaggerate this value, you can see that the tapering effect it's not happening only here at the end. It's actually going from this control point to the next one. So what we have to do here is, let's set another control point around here. Okay, so let me just get this back to 1. And I'll select the next control points on each side. And I'm going to press W here, that opens a special menu. And what I want to do to these segments is subdivide it. So you see, it added another control point here on each side. So let's go here on the side view. I'm going to select only those 2 control points and move them down a little bit. Maybe I should select also the handles here. And I think the handles are quite big. So I'm going to change my pivot point to individual origins and try to scale this down. Put them down again. So I just want the tapering effect from here to here. And I also think that's going down too low, this Bezier curve. So I'm going to select all 4 control points and move this up a little bit. Something like this. This is where it's supposed to start here. See here? And this part that went down a bit, remember, I just have to change the amount of copies of this array here. 58 in my case. I don't know in your case what's the magic number. So let's get back to our Bezier and readjust again only those 2 end control points. Mean radius, scroll it down. You see how it's more localized down the tapering effect. That's beautiful. So it's done. This part is done. So let me zoom out here so you guys can see what I'd be working on. And I'll just select my object, select my Bezier curve, and my empty, the one that I used to make the rotation. I'll duplicate it all. And let's move everything to this 3rd layer here. And this is what I'm going to be working on. So let's go to our list of modifiers for our tube here. Just turn off here everything. So this is our base mesh. I'm going to keep that the same. So this array here is fine. Just let me double check if we are using the copy of that empty and not the original empty for this, because we have to change the amount of copies here. On this array I want only 4. Yeah, 4 strands. Could be 3. And see, it's already getting the copy of the empty that I had. So I just have to change the rotation of this guy. Something around 90 degrees since there are only 4 now. And also, it has to be a lot thinner. Press here so I can see the final result. So move them closer. Let's go to our next array, which is the one that copies this guy around on the y-axis. Let's turn it on. Beautiful. Maybe we don't need this many. Let me put this down to 10 again. Then we'll adjust the final count. Okay, but the deformation right now is using this spline here. The shape is wrong for us. So let's go to this. Let me show you the mesh here of the whole chair, because we need to redraw this Bezier curve. And for now, I'll hide our object. So go into edit mode, select all, but just leave one of the vertices, one of the control points, and delete them. Okay. Let's move this guy. Let's see where we're going to start, where you're going to end. Let's start here on this side. Go all the way around and end here again, okay? So I'll rotate this. No, actually this is okay. No. Has to rotate like this. We'll extrude this in this direction. Just move this down a little bit. So remember, I'm doing this side here right now. I mean the other side, sorry. So let's move this closer. Down. Top view here, gonna make a rotation. Just have to follow this edge here. Another extrusion all the way here. I could do that same trick with the mirroring effect, scale, duplicate, scale, and stuff like that. It just be quicker to just do it like this. It's looking good. So now here on the front side, make extrusion here, scale this down, scale this one down as well, extrude here in the middle, scale it up, and I also have to push it up a little bit. This guy should go up a little bit. Looking good. Now I select the first and the last one and press F to close that segment there. Just to have a little bit more of control, let me add another one of this here. Just down a bit. Remember, there's going to be a huge tube here, so if it's not following the right exact curvature, it's okay. Now I just press F to join these guys. See here if I move this out. This one needs to go up a little bit. Okay, perfect. So let's unhide our object. Here it is. Already wants to deform to the whole object. Let's see here. Select it and find out the amount that we need. Oops. Okay. Yep. Let's see it subdivided. Okay, it's not perfect here, but that's okay. We won't be seeing this part. Here in the back, maybe I should just adjust this a little bit here. This Bezier curve. Let's move this outwards in X. Okay. This one as well. Rotate on the Z here. Okay. Move it on Y. Move this on the X. Okay. So let's see how our whole chair is looking. We are almost done. Just need to make this front feet here and this little string that goes around here. And also just add a solidify modifier to this mesh here. So let's go to our finishing touches. Select this back leg here. I see that's going out a little bit there, so select this top edge loop here on the side view, move it down somewhere here. Okay, look good. Yeah, fine. Let's also make the front legs here, this bottom part here. So just select this edge loop here. Let me add the screencast here for you. Duplicate on the y-axis. Extrude up on Z. Select everything. Move this outwards. Okay. This edge loop here. Extrude down on the Z-axis. Extrude again on the Z-axis. Scale it down to give that finishing touch. The thing here that looks like a rope, don't worry, this is not real geometry. It's just a texture map. But let me do this. Duplicate this edge loop, drop it in the same place. Extrude, drop in the same place, scale it out. Extrude in the Z-axis. Scale it out. How much? Let me go up a little bit further. Extrude, drop in the same place, scale it in. Add one more edge loop here to make things look better. Let me scale this out a little bit. Okay. Just have to adjust the smoothing on this guy. That's our front feet. Okay, looking good. So for the final touches here, just let's add some thickness to these guys. They are just one-sided polygons right now. So let's just add the solidify modifier and make sure that the solidify is before the subdivision level. And this thing here might have something to do with the normals of this object, so I'm going to select all the faces and press Ctrl N. That recalculates all the normals. Okay. And I also would like to move this downwards a little bit so there's no gap there. Beautiful. So you can just add the same thing here. Solidify. Make sure it's the subdivision is at the end of the chain. And this guy here, solidify again, make sure it's at the end of the chain, the subdivision. And that's it. This is our chair. The modeling is done. Next, we're gonna just start doing the UVs and the materials. So let's get into the UV. We have just a few objects. It's gonna be a really simple process. Before we start, make sure you apply your mirror modifier on the seating area here, on the back, and on the sides here. Going to open up a new viewport. Going to create a new image. Doesn't matter the size right now. We just want to use this UV grid so we can align our texture here. Let's get started on this back one here. Select everything, you unwrap. Let me just pin this on the upper view. And here we're going to switch it to texture mode. So you can see here that these are our vertical guides and horizontal lines here on this weave pattern. So we need to align this. That's what I'm using the UV grid here for, so I can know for sure what my texture orientation is. Maybe I'll scale up this guys. Scale down, sorry. Okay. A little bit of distortion is normal in this kind of chair, so don't sweat much about it. Let's get to this one. You unwrap. Apply that same image. Okay, looks good. A little difference that you see is that I made my UV squash a little bit the threads here. That's how it was on the original chair that I used as a reference, and here you can see that the lines go vertically. So you just have to select this vertex here and move it in the right direction a little bit. Don't have to overdo this. Second one as well, just a little bit. Okay, so that all the squishing doesn't happen only here in the bottom. It's gonna look weird. That looks good. Now here on the side, unwrap it, switch to our image here, and this one is way out of whack. That's because we have the little folding that we did up here, so the unwrapping wasn't what we expected, but you just have to select the vertices here, rotate them till they are about vertical. Same thing here on the other side. Okay. Select these two vertices on the bottom here, just to make sure it is horizontal. Maybe now move everything up. Okay. A little bit of stretching here on this type of geometry is okay. This chair is all stretched out, so no problem. Okay, now the actual scale, we want to keep the three of them about the same size, so you don't have to apply different materials to different objects there. The title, you all look the same. Okay, this is about right. Now here on the side, select everything and scale up a little bit. So you see the squares here about the same size as the square up here. The chairs, the legs here. I select it all and go to the side view. We can just use project from view. No problem here. You're actually going to use a different texture on this one. Just scale this up. So like that. Okay, square is about the same. And here, this side is not going to have a texture because it is, the geometry is the texture itself, but just select this and wrap it and apply that same UV grid. Scale this down. So square is about the same size. We're not going to use any texture in this because it will be obvious, the repetition. So we'll use a noise texture in it just to break it up a little bit. And this part doesn't need one as well, but I'll do it since we are doing this. Scale it down. And Okay. Done. Well, UV is done. Let's get into the creation of the textures in the materials.